Welcome in everybody and good day to you all. I'm so glad to be back to be continuing the Trans-Siberian Airways Express from Nizhny Novgorod all the way up to Archangel in the north. In other words, a long flight indeed from probably a warm region to a very cold place. Pronounced Archangel in English, however in Russian I think it's Archangельск or something like that, so don't hold me to it. We're in the Citation 10 as usual, and we're doing this entire flight executive style, so it would be in the Citation all the way across Russia. We're diverting off the usual Trans-Siberian route because, as I said at the beginning, the route is an adventure. We're going to have fun, we're going to travel to different places. We're not going to travel to the route that has been set by the train because we're in a plane, so we make it a little bit different. Okay, so SimBrief file has been downloaded, flight plan has been filed on VATSIM. Current cruise altitude today is probably 43,000 feet. Block fuel 2.8 tons. Passengers, we got 8 passengers aboard including 2 pilots. 1,000 kilograms of payload and approximately 236 kilos of cargo. So I'm going to hop into the cockpit. We're going to do a few preparatory checks. I'm going to stick the emergency lights and the emergency power on, the standby power, and the batteries, along with the engine monitoring system. You can stick the avionics on, although I highly recommend leaving them off until the engines have started, or maybe even until you've got the APU running. So let's go ahead and get the APU on before I do all the weights and things. Passengers aren't quite here yet, they'll probably be here, obviously ground service, but it won't bring the passengers, they'll be brought VIP style in their limousines most likely. So that'll give us about 10 minutes to do start up. You can hear there the roar of the APU comes alive. There we go, so ready to load on APU. If you're unfamiliar with the Citation 10, it's a standard default aircraft on X-Plane 12. I do recommend it as a little beginner jet if you're not into the jets and you want to get started. Although to be fair, the default 737 seems a little bit easier. There's not as much to mess around with. Any issues with the stream, let me know. Any issues with connection dropping, of course let me know as well. So generators on, turn the bleed air on, and we turn the cockpit packs on and engine bleed airs on. That will just allow the system to be prepared for engine start. We keep the isolation valve open, of course. I'm going to set your damper on in advance, and since we're doing this on SimBrief, let's go ahead and kick the avionics on so we can load the flight plan. So UWGG, Nizhny Novgorod, we landed here last time from Moscow, of course, and we're not the only aircraft here. We have another plane taxiing behind us. So Strigino is Nizhny Novgorod. It's basically the old name for it, the airport. Okay, there's Russia Airlines. Ironically, I landed here last time and that plane was also taken off from here, so it might be his regular airport. We are departing from 18 left today. The LAN 2 uniform departure. Let's load that flight plan in. So uniform Whiskey Golf Golf to uniform Lima Alpha Alpha. Estimated flight time is about 2 hours, so it's quite a long flight. There we go. Just double check. There's Lano. So departure's gone into the route. And we'll check the arrival as well. I don't think we're going to be able to get an ATC here. We'll just have to do Unicom since we're in a, I'd say, not very popular place to fly, especially with VATSIM on the system. So navigation, let's check departure. Runway 18 is already selected. 312 uniform. Let's go ahead and activate that and get the initialization performed. So I think we're pretty much good in terms of FMC wise. The emergency lights can come on. We could watch that guy take off if he's, yeah, he'll be departing there from 18 left most likely. We are tuned on Unicom 122.8 as well. Okay, perform initialization. So as I say, the weight and things do need to change. We have 8 passengers on board. As you can see here, we have 2 crew. Currently have 4 passengers in the back already, so we only need another 4 in there. I estimate the weight here say about 240 kg, which is, I think, fair estimation. And then 300 and something for cargo, so quite a lot of cargo on the sim briefs, saying 236 kg. About there. And fuel wise, we need a grand total of 2.8 tons, so 2,806 kg. I could always round that down or up. 2,000. I think we should probably round it up to about 3 tons. Let's do that. And that's pretty much it for weight and balance. Very simple to do. You can't change it like you can on the 0737, but it doesn't matter too much. Okay, we are IFR, so we'll turn the transponder on. We don't really need to, and we'll just set like a random. We'll set 2670, the squawk code. Navigation thing, so cruising altitude is 43,000. Flight level 430. Fuel. Takeoff. All looks good with 5 degrees of flaps in there. There's the V-speed, because V-speed is the point of no return. VR is rotation, then V2 is like say climb out speed. So about 138. Then 190 there for VNR, excuse me. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. Let's have a watch. Let's watch him take off courtesy, and we'll close the doors as the passengers are on board. There he goes. Let's hope he's going somewhere nice. Amazing. Plane spotted in Nижний Novgorod. Who would have thought it? Okay, pitot heat's on, window heat's on. We know it's going to be cold. It's about 13 degrees now. We'll stick the fuel on. And fuel boost can go on normal. Ignition to on. I'm going to get the engine started relatively quickly since the flight plan is pretty much done already. Let's just double check the cruise. Descent. Landing. Landing's giving us a VREF 126 and 131 for VAP. Okay, so then it should be taking back to the flight plan. Make sure you click back to the beginning, and then with this, there's not really a. Well, we do the approach when we get a bit closer. I already know what the approach is, so we'll get the engine started. Be sure to unlock it. I'll get the beacons and navs on. Seatbelt signs on. Pressurization is already sorted, so we've pressurized at 43,000. You can always do it. Fairly simple actually in the Citation 10. There's not really much to do in terms of changing it. You can mess around with some of these other things and try and do be perfect, but in terms of the game it'll work if you just change it on this thing. So let's get the engines on. Number 1 has started. Left engine number 1 has started. We'll stick the ignition back to normal. We'll get number 2 rolling. Now usually you're supposed to do this check down here with enunciation, so well, I tend to skip it. I have been skipping it on the stream, so apologies if you want to see it. Generators are on for the engines. If you want to, you can tick up the bleed air to maximum. That may speed up the process. You're not obliged to do so because VNAV and LNAV, but for takeoff we'll be using a roll or takeoff. Excuse me. Okay, we got the engine started. Excuse my dry voice there. And I think we'll go just double check everything is on and return automatic on the oxygen as well. Taxi lights can come on. Don't need to sync anything. You can put ground idle high on if you want to, and that'll give you a bit more power for taxi. So let's try that, although last time it did result in engines being out of sync. Now, in terms of standby power, that's supposed to be armed most of the time, so it's not meant to be on, but in this aircraft it's usually on or off. So just to save you the pain of listening to that noise, I'll turn it off. And also de-isolate the valves, so we can close those valves now, like that. You can turn the isolation, bleed air off, shut down the APU. Okay, so APU's going, so generator can come off, and turn the master off. If you do want to leave it on, maybe worth leaving it on for takeoff in case you've got an engine failure or something like that. You just provides extra power to the aircraft and bleed air, of course. So it's a straight out departure, straight out taxi. Just one more check of the aircraft. As you can see, we're going to slick. A very slick dark blue livery today. We've forgone the gold livery for now. So high power. There's a lot of bad weather actually. Let's just have a look at that. We're getting weather warnings on the radar. Now, not surprising for Russia. Every time I fly here, there's always really, really bad weather. So let's keep our fingers crossed that nothing happens on takeoff. Of course, interior master switch can come on as well. Yep, so we're taxiing now, straight out. We'll do a quick U-turn here. We'll give them a call on the radio in a second. Just double check actually there's no ATC available. So it's not available at the moment. All we have is a centre at UWGG. Not sure where that is, but they haven't contacted us at the moment, so we'll keep an eye out for that. The ground idle can come off. And of course the remote works. Just be cautious everybody if you're using the Xbox remote. It can be temperamental, especially if it's not a sealed wide connection. Mine is a plug-in connection. We will change a few things on the ADI as well. You will notice we're still locked onto localizer 1. We should be on FMS or FMC. We'll switch it now, FMS. Just good practice to do it nice and early as well on both sides, and then you don't really need the second. You don't need this one here unless you want to. And then of course we all know what an ILS is if you've used a flight sim. So obviously VOR is for the ILS, ADF and things, and FMS can switch it and it'll just change the direction of that arrow there, or turn it off even, and that'll save you some hassle. I'm going to set flaps 5. we shouldn't deploy them taxiing. I don't know what the rules are here. Sometimes it's different, but standard practice you wouldn't taxi with. You know, you wouldn't taxi and deploy the flaps at the same time. You'd probably deploy them prior to taxiing or just on the runway before takeoff. So we'll try and be a little bit more realistic. We are going to set takeoff go around now. So when we advance the thrust, we know how far to advance it for takeoff. Of course, yaw damper's always got the yaw damper on, and we won't put in trim on, but we'll keep PFD, as you can see there, primary flight display on the captain's side. And I set the Q&H when we're at the runway. Right, here's the runway, everybody. We're probably free to line up. I think I've gone past one of the holding points, but not on the boulder. We can hold here at the sign. Ah, yes, there's another holding point. We're kind of saved. Let's pull on car plane here. So I'll just show you the map because this airport has two runways. The Strigino is Nizhny Novgorod, and yeah, so it's a big airport. It's basically the main airport for the city. Well, hardly anybody uses it on that sim. QNH 1011 1011 on there. And we were going to set some more things, I think, but that was it. We've set the frequencies, the transponder, etc. Taxi lights, landing lights come on. Strobes can come on. Don't think we need tail lights. We can stick the boosted high, and I'll stick ignitions on as well. Although I tend to leave it on normal. So you're absolutely fine to do that as well. We'll do a flight control check. And flaps, of course. So 5 degrees of flaps. Elevators. To the left. To the right. So ailerons. Rudder. Spoilers. Should rarely perform this when you're on the ramp or clear of anybody, any other vehicles, perhaps prior to taxiing. Anyway, we've had successful deployment of flaps. We just trimmed position and that's ready to depart. Let's give them a quick courtesy radio call on Unicom. Nizhny Novgorod traffic. Charlie 33 Mike November is departing runway 18 left. Right, let's go. We're lined up. Takeoff thrust is going to be set. Takeoff thrust is set. There's 80 knots. 120. V1, rotate. V2. Positive rate, climb, gear up. Reduce that thrust down to climb. And I didn't check the initial altitude, but it's not too much of an issue. We'll just follow straight up to, well, it's given us 1500 feet, so yeah, pretty quick climb out there from Nizhny Novgorod. We say goodbye to the city, das vidanya, once again. Okay, flaps up. VNav and LNav can come on. Yeah, cleared straight up to 43,000 feet, fantastic. And slats up, of course. Very responsive aircraft, so it must be quite warm here today. I haven't checked the local temperatures, I'll give that a check in a second. I know what the pressure is, the pressure's pretty much near standard, so yeah, you would expect it to be fairly warm actually for today. You can tell by the clouds and the general weather that it is a nice one. Okay, no messing around today, straight onto the autopilot, and we'll let the autopilot manually fly it, control it, sorry. The landing lights can come off, start to descend now. Even though we should be about 11,000 feet. Sorry everybody, a bit of unprofessionalism has occurred. So we've leveled off at 6,000 for some reason when I clicked autopilot. We should be following the FMC, probably because I haven't set the altitude. Let's see if that follows it. 43,000. We'll stick landing lights off. Yeah, so we're climbing now. Straight back up to climb thrust. And I'll turn the ignition to normal, switch it to normal, switch the fuel boost to normal as well. May switch that back on, we'll get a bit higher up just to assist the climb. I'm going to take precaution and sit down to ISOM nice and early. If you don't, in fact I'll leave it off, I'll take a little bit of a risk and we'll leave the stabilizer and slat anti-ice off, and then when it gets a bit of ice on it, it should give us a warning. It might come up on here saying there's an ice detected or something like that. In general though, one hell of a location to fly, one hell of a pretty city. Okay, so apparently we do have control in this area. Not control, we have ATIS. It wasn't available when I was there. So that's just come available, but I'm sure we can contact... I think we're supposed to contact Moscow Control and Nizhny Novgorod for a flight plan. Bizarre. Usually we'd expect them to message you or something and let you know, because I didn't realise UWGG is Moscow Control 127.5. Let's go ahead and give them a call. 27.5. Might get told off for it. May get told off. A little bit nervous actually about calling. Perhaps we should not do that in flights because it takes an awful lot of time. I have to mess around with doing a flight plan on a completely different program, and then I have to file that flight plan, and then I have to just go through all the nonsense. It's, yeah, realistically, you know that. Okay, so there is
Аэрофлот
80.
101, выталкивание запуска разрешаю, только запуск стоянка 107 Альфа.
Выталкивание запуска разрешили, точку запуска не расслышал, Аэрофлот 101, повторите, пожалуйста.
Аэрофлот 101, запускайтесь на стоянке 107 Альфа позади вас.
Запускаюсь на стоянке 107 Альфа, Аэрофлот 101, спасибо.
I'll give the 80s a listen now it's available.
Готов к заходу ПВП на 17-ю полосу СОСО.
SFD departure runway 18 left. Transition level 70 bird strike hazard in vicinity of aerodrome
Bird
weather.
strike, we
Wind
didn't have
variable
one.
1 meters per second. Cap OK. Temperature 13. 2.3 QNH 1011. No significant changes. Acknowledge ATIS information X-ray. Strike Eno ATIS information X-ray. 1430 Zulu runway 18
We didn't have that when we took off.
left out of operation. Expect ILS X-ray approach runway 18 left. Drive friction coefficient decimal been measured by SFD departure runway 18 left. Transition level 70 bird strike hazard in vicinity of aerodrome weather. Wind variable 1 meters per second. Cap OK. Temperature 13. 2.3 QNH 10. No significant changes. Acknowledge ATIS information X-ray. Strike Eno entered. This information X-ray. 430 Zulu runway 90 прямо на Тогма.
390 прямо на Тогма, Аэрофлот 256. САС 4047 на предварительном ВПП 24 центральная.
ЛД 4047 ширине, ветер лимит 230 градусов 7 метров, ВП 24 центральная разрешает.
Like, you know, you can adjust the volume on the, you should be able to adjust it down here on comms. You can have speaker turned down, and headphones can't be changed unfortunately. So you can't change the volume unfortunately in this plane. Hello, find us.
67-490, визуальный контакт с полосой установили, высотки готов.
7490, ВП-17, посадку разрешаю, руление ставить самостоятельно.
Посадка разрешили, руление на стоянку самостоятельно 67-490. Москва, контроль до введения, Аэрофлот 2126, проверка 7.
Аэрофлот 2126 на контроле, здравствуйте, на 5.
Восточная 5, запашем вылет согласно плану в Анталию.
Аэрофлот 2166, вылет согласно плану в Анталию.
Yeah, so there was no ATC when I came online. I think we'll be fine. Usually we'd only contact them if you... I mean, you should contact them in the airspace, but it would be I think it would be a bit pointless because, well, we're simply flying from out the area soon, so we'll be on Unicom anyway.
48-40-47, пересекаем 1500 футов
I'll
и
listen in.
набираем 7000 футов по схеме покнутых ходов.
So that's silence, can come off.
Без ограничений, эшелон 250.
Повторяем без ограничений, эшелон 250.
Сибирь 1156, готов к снижению.
Сибирь 1156, Теота Лопи, разрешаю прямо на Тепта. Снижайте без ограничений 8000 футов, QNH 1012.
Сибирь 1156, разрешили прямо на Алопе, снижаемся 8000
Okay, I think I'm being buzzed by the ATC here.
От Алопи, разрешаю прямо на Тепта.
No, I'm not. I thought they might be giving us a...
1156 от Алопе, разрешили прямо на Тепка.
Точка Тепта, Танго, Эко, Папа, Танго, Альфа.
состав Siberian 56.
32 541, а вы себе куда следуете?
32 541, я сам в шоке только что заметил. Сью на Дугоп у нас следующая, с автопилотом разберусь.
Эва следующая.
А после Иброд на Дугоп, далее Инкепот у меня еще включилось.
Понятно. А 32 541 следуйте прямо на намер.
Прямо на намер следует 32 541, спасибо.
Аэрофлот 510, добро пожаловать в Лавнуку с праздником, конец связи.
One key press, put the gear down by accident. Lovely view, right above the clouds here, floating on the clouds. Maybe we can take a right turn.
Разрешите выйти из кабины на 10 минут?
Аэрофлот 1056, разрешаю.
Разрешили Аэрофлот 1056.
Эмбарка, Москва, контроль заканчивается. Своя работа, послушайте.
I just turned that off for a minute. I should mention actually that obviously it's the month of May. We celebrate the victory of the Great War, the Great Patriotic War, whatever you want to call it, World War II. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed that in Russia. Hope you've enjoyed celebrating it. I believe it's called Победы День. So Snyom Победы, I believe that is, and also Dobro Jalovit na canal. Welcome in to you. I really hope I pronounced that right, but happy Victory Day to you, and also to the people in England who celebrate, basically anywhere who's celebrating it today or through this month, because it's a good thing to remember, I think, the victories and the fast. Yeah, so the area control's actually gone offline again. Maybe they hopped on because they saw there was a bit more traffic in the area. Anyway, that means we're clear to just fly through now. I had a feeling they weren't contacting us because basically they weren't going to be on a long time, so fantastic. We're currently over Vladimir Oblast again, and as you can see that's our right hand turn there to the north. Now we're going to go over after this Ivanovskaya Oblast, Yaroslavl Oblast or something like that. Basically a long way a very long way to Arkhangельsк Airport. And you probably wonder why we're doing this. We're going to go in up to Arkhangельsк, and then we're going to come back down. I was going to initially go to Yekaterinburg, but I think we're going to go to the north, and then we're going to go to Vorkuta after. And then after Vorkuta we'll come back down to Yekaterinburg and Chelyabinsk. It's just to cover all those airports that we might otherwise miss. Anyway, I'm going to step away from the cockpit for a few minutes. Be right back.
Аэрофлот-101, начинаю руление к 24 центральной Шереметьево.
Аэрофлот 256, он в кабине.
Captain has returned and I'm prepared to take questions if you have any. Also, find us if you're here still and you still want to share those photos or that list of cars, classic cars, please do, because we can go through them now on this stream. And ATC's come back online. Interesting. We leveled off yet? We're at 40, we're not even at 43,000 feet yet, blimey. I think we've probably gone a bit too high up here, especially with 10 passengers on board. That's, you know, 8 passengers and 2 pilots. A lot of fuel. I did say I was going to stick. We've not had an anti-ice warning, which is concerning. We've not had an anti-ice on the stabilizer. I don't know why, maybe it's broken or something. So we'll stick them on anyway. So no warning there as I expected. I will stick the fuel pumps to high for the moment. To support that fuel flow through the tanks and engines. Okay, just double check the ATC. I think it was Unicom. Yeah, I think I'm hearing Unicom. No, I'm not. I'm hearing 127.5, so we'll go back to the Unicom now. 1,000 feet to go. And 225 knots cruise speed, Mach 0.78. incredible. Look at that. Weather in, well, when I took off from Nizhny Novgorod in Russia, the takeoff airport, it was actually quite cold. There was some low fronts coming in. In terms of weather in England, though, it's fantastic. It's about 20 degrees here, really sunny, really warm. So spring seems to be on and off. April was scorching, but then it's gone downhill a little bit since. Weather in like terms of getting to Arkhanghelsk in the north is most likely going to be freezing, and probably some kind of, you know, strong winds and storm weather as well. Maybe not storm weather, but the low fronts definitely in the low pressure regions. You Donald Trump's chicken, Captain. That's funny. That's funny, Finders. Oh man. I don't know what to say to that. Probably not. Might as well give you a few interesting things on Arkhanghelsk. Obviously situated in the freezing north of Russia. City and administrative centre of Arkhanghelsk Oblast, Russia. It's on the bank of northern Dvina. Near its mouth is the into the White Sea. It was the chief seaport of medieval and early modern Russia until 1703, and then it was replaced by the newly founded St. Petersburg. And obviously St. Petersburg used to be known as Stalingrad. Not even that long ago, really. Only as far back as like even the 90s, and after that people were still referring to it as Stalingrad. Anyway, it has a 1300 kilometer railway from Arkhanghelsk to Moscow via Vologda and Yaroslavl. Air travel, of course, Talagi Airport and smaller Vaskova Airport. This is all off Wikipedia. But pretty interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and just set our... We have still got climb for us set. Reduce that to cruise. There's probably no need to have the fuel pumps on. It was disappointing we didn't get an anti-ice warning though. No warning on icing, which is unfortunate. In terms of systems though, everything is looking pretty good. There's nothing to change at this point. You can check the pressurization, just make sure the cabin is pressurized properly, and you can see there that it's pressurized. So cabin altitude obviously isn't going to be as high as the aircraft. The aircraft is slightly under 40,000 there. Sure, it's fine. We've got it pressurized, that's the main thing. Since we got nice nice sort of long flight, I'm going to just double check the arrival. So we've got the arrival. So 26 has gone in. It's correct on the runway, and then it's not giving us an approach. It's just saying direct to the airport from Simbrief. I'll skip that. I'll skip that until we get closer. We don't know what's going on at the airport. At least the flight plan is in there. We check it, we can see. Yeah, bad me, and then it'd probably be... I'm going to fly it manually again. It's nice to fly Citation. Hand flown is very cool and stable. Yeah. Well, it was Victory Day was today for them. Victory Day in Russia. I just realised, Finders, if you're talking about that, you might be quite far behind on the stream. I talked about that quite a while ago, actually. So I hope not. I hope it's not delayed as much. But yeah, it was. I said Pabyedi Din. I tried to remember the name of it. I think that means Victory Day. Of course, Russia celebrated it. St. Petersburg and Moscow and other cities. Yeah, it is a big one. I think the stream is behind your comments. Well, hello from the future again. or perhaps not. Checking the stream on YouTube. I mean, what I can see on the YouTube studio is about 54 minutes streaming, and that corresponds with my software, which is about 54 minutes as well, so it's looking pretty good. Ah, it's okay now. Thank goodness. I just checked YouTube, it seems alright. It seems to be on slightly on track. We are doing 250 knots, so 43,000 feet, which is impressive. Again, you won't get that kind of speed in a 737. That's why I prefer the Citation, because, well, I don't prefer it, but I think it's better performance. Much better performance. And remember, it's got a ceiling of 51,000, so we're not even at the top of its maximum cruise altitude. Yeah, 250 knots at this speed in a 737 is completely unthinkable. You wouldn't even get up to this altitude in that aircraft. So, yeah. They designed a real beast of an aeroplane. Reduce the thrust ever so slightly, just keep it around 250. And don't forget, everybody, if you enjoy this, I always say it on every stream to remind you, please feel free to join the next flight. Please feel free to chat and to comment what you like, what you don't like. Favourite planes, favourite destinations, etc. Are you a pilot yourself? Do you fly in the flight sims? Let me know. I'm always happy to hear you. And also find us. I forgot to ask you, have you ever been to places like Belarus? FPS is alright, yeah. I'm getting about, it's just jumped up there to about 70, 75, 80. Probably because we're cruising, so there's not much to process at this altitude. That's the only thing I can think of, although to be fair, I've had this Citation hitting that kind of frame rate on the ground as well. In the past, so yeah, it's a really good plane in terms of FPS. I think I did turn my settings down on the game a bit just to help the FPS in the computer, because it kept running at like maximum power for the 737, which can't be good. Belarus, never. Pretty close to Poland and Denmark. Yeah, but that's nice. Kind of thinking about it. If you've maybe visited, I've never been either. But apparently there's not an open border thing, but they've got a visa-free scheme at the moment for UK residents. And I think Denmark might be on the list too. Poland's nice. I think if you're going to go to Europe, if you want to go somewhere that's a bit cheaper, a lot cheaper actually, then definitely go to Poland. Czech Republic's nice, Poland of course, the Baltics, the Balkans. A lot cheaper than places like France and Germany. And Spain. Okay, so there's a delay between the game and the stream. I'm watching the stream, we've just done a turn to the right. Oh well, I'll keep going on about it, but it's not going to change it. I don't know how to change it, to be honest. If you do know how to change the delay, let me know. Thank you. In terms of progress, we're actually making good progress here. There's some weather off the side that could be an issue. There's Vologda, as I said, we're passing over this Vologda region. Let's check the airport. Yeah, main airport for Vologda. And we go up, of course. Amazing. It is a good thing I've reached 80 FPS on this cruise because it looks fantastic. The cloud detail is very, very realistic at this altitude. Look at that. If you zoom in, it does look blurry, but it's in general it looks fantastic. And also there's ice on the window. I don't know if you can see it. We have got ice, anti-ice on though, so it should prevent it. Miracles. Miracles in the clouds. Fantastic. Now we set off about an hour ago, well we started about an hour ago, and then we taxied 40 minutes ago, so we still got quite a bit of time to go. I'm going to turn my microphone off, just to save the narration. Baltic's really good and getting better and better. Yeah, I mean, it just looks like, from what I've seen and what I want to experience there, it does look fantastic. Although I heard a little bit of negative media, should we say, about Lithuania. Never been to Thailand or Lithuania though. Or Latvia, so I'll have to go and get my achievement. Please don't forget, I said it again, if you want to like, please do, and that helps to support the stream. Gives me an indication that people like what I'm doing. I'll continue to do it. That's nice. That's very kind. Scandinavia is lovely as well, very clean. Apparently the happiest people on earth are in Scandinavia. Are also the tallest. Я хочу посетить at some point. Well, we picked a couple of live viewers, not bad at all. Remember I did a stream in the Citation, I got loads of views live, well more than I'd usually have, and we peaked on that day in terms of viewership as well. I think that was the flight to Sarajevo in Bosnia and Herzegovina. What kind of foods do you eat, find us? Is it a typical European sort of diet with a lot of cheese and meats? Nice wines? Or is it more vegetarian? Let's watch the parade together. So this is in Moscow, Russia. Victory Day Parade live. Might as well. Might as well give you the benefit of the doubt. I can't read the... Oh, actually I can read the chat. So yeah, I mean, we can always do this. I was going to review the diplomats arriving in the planes as well. Somebody arrived from Cuba in an Ilyushin 96, which we were actually talking about last stream. So how cool is that though, that they're flying in such massive planes. A lot of people there marching in uniforms. Soldiers, of course. Front day soldiers. I can't see the chat finders if you're commenting. Of course, the world leaders. $13,000 people watching it. Pork potatoes chicken, yeah, I like pork potatoes chicken as well, Finders. No more sugar and white bread for me. It is live from Moscow, Finders. I have to switch to the stream tab to read your comments. I generally don't eat bread myself or sugar in the form of, you know, carbs like pasta and things. Live from Russia apparently, so Victory Day Parade. I suspect it's already finished, though. It'll be 6:30 in Russia now, so it's unlikely to be still going. It's most likely just old footage. Incredible. They make such an effort to put on the parade for people. You know, they really celebrate it. I think there'll be a chat on the stream screen. I've tried to put the YouTube chat onto the stream so you can see it as well. So you can watch the actual parade, my flying, and the chats at the same time. Oh wow. I didn't expect to see Steven Seagal there. That's a surprise. Wow. That's that's made my day to see him there. I had no idea he was even living or even in Russia at this time. Of course, down Red Square, the centre of Moscow. And there's the Red Square Cathedral. And of course, off to the left is the Kremlin. (1945 to 2025), 80 years. Incredible. There mustn't be many veterans left from the actual Great War now, or even the Second World War. So there's, you know, the Second World War, there'll probably be barely any left at this point. If they are still around, they must be at least 100 years old. Action hero. He is an action hero from the past. Oh man. Don't even get me started on that train film that he did. I absolutely love it. Under Siege, I think it is. I'm glad I got the chat to appear on screen. I might start leaving that there for the future streams as well, so we can all see what's being said. The comments though, find us, are going insane. A lot of happy, positive comments like greetings, and then someone said, "Is this War Thunder introduction? Mother Russia from Brazil." And then of course a lot of people put in provocative troll comments in it. Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, etc. And of course there's an advert. This has been on a long time. It says it streamed 10 hours ago, so I think it's probably not as live as people think it is. I think the parade is finished. As I said, the St. Petersburg one had finished, so we can go ahead and get rid of it. Yeah, well, it was nice to watch the stream. It was nice to watch the live parade. That was different. Yeah, I guess so. Steven Seagal was never like Sylvester Stallone, although to be honest. Yeah, I get what you mean. He's like the B plus action hero. Yeah, it was Under Siege 2, the train film with Steven Seagal. Casey Ryback hops onto a Colorado train to LA, starting a vacation with his niece. Early into the trip, terrorists board the train and use it as a mobile HQ to hijack a top secret destructive US satellite. It's a 1995 movie. It's not got that good a rating, but I enjoyed it. Okay, quick aircraft check. There's the top of descent after Lapig, Begbie, and then Lapig, and then we're descending probably down to, let's have a look. So down to 20,017, 9,000. So after Badme we're flying direct to runway 26 for the ILS approach. So I'll just descend straight down to 8,000 feet when the time comes. Program the arrival. ILS 26. Yankee or Zulu? I'll go for Zulu. Check what's there, there's not much on it. Arrival 26, ILS Yankee. Okay, there is. I'm just checking the food thing, Finest. Didn't you mention about pork? There's something called, I think it's fricadella. Fricadella? I bought some of that a while ago. It's really, really tasty, but the one I bought was from Germany. I wonder if you, is that in Danish culture as well? 250 knots on the airspeed, but our true airspeed is 510. Ground speed is 500, so we're going very, very fast. Of course, this top of descent is approaching in a second, so the FMC should automatically change. You'll see it change on here. The pink number will change to 252, which is flight level 252, which is 25,200 feet. And it will change respective depending on which waypoint we're at. Not far to the airport though, we're almost done on this flight. It's been a good hour, but we've done it, I think, in time. We've done it more efficiently, let's say, than I expected to. The estimated flight time was about 2 hours when we initially set off. Yes, we had fricadella a lot here, also excellent, nice, very nice. I absolutely love frikadellas, not had them in so long though. I'll have to nip out and get some later. Thankfully we have shops here which do supply those kind of products. We are descending, I completely forgot, so let's reduce our thrust. Reduce it to about 60%. No problem, find us. Just nice to have somebody here to talk to, I guess. Glad you're enjoying it. And I hope more people engage in the future as well. You're probably going to be, let's say I reach that 1,000 subscriber thing, I would make you a modification person on the chat, most likely. I'm not big on bacon though, but find us. I do like a nice bacon sandwich occasionally, but not very often. For me, the pork would have to be in a form of like sausage or fricadella, as you say. Yeah, we're descending very nicely, about 3,000 feet per minute. In terms of traffic, we're the only person in the area for the next probably 100 nautical miles, I suspect. So weather, we can actually check it that way, or you can check it on the maps. There's a bit of a twofold thing there. So local QNH in this particular region is 1014. Wind is 030 at 12 knots, so quite strong wind there. Headwind, that is. Few clouds at 3,200. Broken clouds at 10,000. Of course, you can check the aircraft Citation X location. We're currently over cargo pod. I hope I've got real time and weather on. I'm pretty sure I've got real world weather, but maybe not on the time. Set 26 on the heading, the runway. Won't do it on the co-pilot side just yet. And I didn't turn turbine sync on. Really should have that on during flight. That'll allow the throttles to not go out of sync, and the turbine, of course, to not go out of sync as well. can we get the ILS frequency off of the FMC? So that would be very cool, wouldn't it? So let's click tune. So we've already got an ILS in there. It'd be cool, like, so the 777 will automatically tune the correct frequency for you. It takes a lot of the hassle out of the equation. Just see Archangels below. Port city, of course. So it'll be on the coast of northern Russia. You have given it a 8,000 feet target, but the FMC's given us 20,000 for the time being. Bellow, and after a bellow we'll clear down to 12. So we slow down our rate of descent, we can add more speed, slow it down, and then we can just continue descending if we do it at the correct speeds. Perhaps not, it's not pitching for 270, is it? Just being told to do by the vertical navigation. Archangельsk, at last we can see her beautiful city ahead. So 2 airports, we're flying to Uniform Lima Alpha Alpha, which is Telegi, and of course there's Vaskovka there, excuse me, Vaskova there, which is the alternate airport of course. A little bit unexpected on the weather, to be honest. I didn't think we were going to have. Still got -30 and some bumpy turbulence as well. On the bother. Low level clouds, high level clouds. Broken clouds at 10,000 feet, so that'll be 10,000 feet right there. QNH, we found the QNH before on the iOS. So 101.6. You can double check where we are. Also, не забудьте поставить like, пожалуйста. I'd very much appreciate it. It'll help me keep doing these flights in the future. I did download a checklist for the Citation X, but I'm not sure how to implement it into the game at the moment. Excuse me, everybody, it just jumped out my skin. There was a bottle falling in the background. Yeah, I don't know how to put it into the game, unfortunately, but the proper citation checklist I have downloaded onto my system, so hopefully in the future I can implement that into the streams. Unfortunately, the Cessna Citation that comes with X-Plane 12 doesn't have a checklist. Okay, there's a bit better control on the speed. We pass through 10,000 feet, so we slow down to 250. In terms of plugins, I think you need another plugin here called like Pilot Tab or something like that, or you know, for the little iPad that goes at the side of the cockpit to bring all your charts up. Yeah, there's something ahead to find us. I think at the moment we're lucky we just got a bit of turbulence. There's nothing on the radar though, so far it's looking alright. I think the radar is looking pretty good, so we're probably safe. The weather's calm, you know, strong crosswinds, and that's about it. So we go down to 4,000 feet. Okay, VNav is definitely all over the place. It's gone back up to 350 on the speed apparently, so we need to just slow that down so we can enter that manually to 250 and it doesn't change it. I think we're all visual at this point. We're free to actually disengage the autopilot, but still maintaining 350 on the speed. Again, I need to figure this out. So some things don't quite work. Let's change that. Let's change it to 220. You can change it to 318. Can't change it to 220, so let's try 200. No. Seems a little bit broken, the FMC. And also the flight plan has magically vanished, so we're going to do a little bit of an illegal move here. We're going to autopilot, and we're going to just descend manually for the time being. Vertical navigation come off. Let's get the slats out. And 5 degrees of flaps. We are below 10,000 feet, that means we should be sticking our landing lights on. Still need anti-ice, very cold in Archangels. So it's a straight arrival, runway 26. I'm noticing lag on stream. Maybe because the frame rate dropped because we descended down into a sort of scenery dense area. I also don't like turbulence. Find it's crashed my plane many a times on this game. Fingers crossed it doesn't on this one. Yeah, so there's the coast as I mentioned. So the airport's just off to the left, northwest there. When we go on to final, I won't need to activate the autopilot, I'll simply activate the approach switch. In fact, we can switch on to nav now in preparation. Spoilers out just a little bit, just to help us drop off that speed. Downwind now, runway 26. Go around height is 4,000 feet. Landing lights are on. Track the spoilers and then we can try and arm them again. Engines sync, we'll leave that on until we get on final. Fuel pumps can come on nice and early. Still descending, we just want to maintain at least a minimum of 2,500 feet for final. Got a nice beach in Archangels. Probably quite busy. Main infrastructure down there, and I think there's a massive train station as well. Trim selected. Descend now to about 2,000 feet. Reduce that speed to 190. A lot of greenery in Archangels, a lot of forest space. It's just a shame we can't see it because of the weather. Navigation approach is highlighted so it can guide us down to the ILS approach localizer and of course the runway. Turn on to final. I hope this is the correct distance. Slightly off to the right, but we can always correct. So we're probably at the minimal altitude now we want to be at for the approach. So 15 degrees of flaps. Just double check I know what my call sign is. There's a runway ahead. Don't have a left or right unfortunately, we're just landing at this one runway that's at the airport. Archangels traffic, Charlie 33 Mike November is final, runway 26. Not quite on the glide slope just yet. The green diamond or the green arrow will on the ADI will indicate when we've localized it. Engine sync off. Landing gear down. Flaps 35.
1000, flight slow.
Okay, so maybe we haven't picked up a glide slope, or we haven't programmed the bloody frequency. Excuse me. That'll be why we're not picking it up. Okay. I thought we had it programmed, but apparently not. Let's do that quickly. We're about on the glide slope. My mistake. There's the outer marker. All hand flying the aircraft on this approach and landing, of course. This is the middle marker.
200. Light 100. Light slow. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Holding that flare a little bit longer since we've got a bit of space. Okay, reverses. Let's disengage the reverses and do a quick U-turn. Well, thank you for watching that landing, and we'll taxi into the gate and we'll do our shutdown. Very good for a hand-flown approach. I don't think the autopilot could have handled it because of the turbulence. So it's a good thing we flew the approach there. Landing lights off, taxi lights on. I'll leave the strobes on to clear the runway. Flaps up, of course. There's the space straight ahead, we might as well take that. Right at the terminal so the passengers can hop off. We've got Scandinavian Air as expected. For some reason we got British Airways. You would expect to see things like Aeroflot, you know, Trans-Siberian Airways or whatever you want to call them. Check lights off. Beacon and strobes off. Fuel boost off. Ignition off. Fuel flow off. We didn't turn the APU on, that's why we got a warning. Installation valves. Be open. No lights. Anti-ice. Window heats. Pitot heats. Transponder to standby. Whatever you can put in. I don't think there's a standby option. Generators. Put the standby power on. Emergency lights. Yeah, what an adventure to Arkhangельsk, everybody. I mean, we've done it hand flown, we did a very good job, and obviously enjoyable to fly into such an airport on such a nice day. So I hope we can encounter each other again in the future on the next plane experience from Arkhangельsk, probably down or up and across to Vorkuta and then down to Ekaterinburg and Chelyabinsk, all over Russia. Etc, etc. Have I tried a category landing finders just before I go? Yes, I have, and I've managed to do it. So it's mostly autopilot. It's usually autopilot that flies it and then probably gets you down to the runway. So yeah, flown them before. I hope you had a good day. I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you again probably now. So have a great time, everybody. Take care.